Rich boy, rock nerd. That is technically all I need to say, but we're going into another episode of Pokémon Lore with Crazi, because I'm crazy for Pokémon lore. Today we'll be covering the Hoenn champion, Steven Stone. We're skipping a few generations, but all in good fun. After all, I also have a slight change to my typical episode. I'm collaborating with the one and only Dreamer the Great.
Hello.
We'll both be tackling Steven's story and whatnot. Enough rambling. I'll get into this. In Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, along with its remakes Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Steven seems to be a minor character at first, merely just a character who you hand a letter to. This letter is from Joseph Stone, Steven's father, who owns Devon Corporation. To keep it simple, Devon makes products to assist with Pokemon training and catching. Meeting with Steven again and again gives the player the technical move for Steel Wing and hidden move for Dive and the Devon scope to find Kellyon.
Did you also know that in Pokemon Adventures, he's one of the few people in Hoenn that has taught his Pokemon the move Dive? Isn't that crazy? Huh? You see what I did there? Well, I don't know if it's crazier than his appearances in Hoenn, but yeah, he sure does appear a lot. His first appearance, quote unquote, is him being briefly mentioned. Bruh. However, his second appearance is much more enticing compared to his first one, and it's surprisingly from Johto. And to top things off, his appearance is before he stepped down from being the champion of the region. But what does he do in Johto, you must be asking? After completing a certain quest, he will tell you about Latios and Latias' whereabouts in Kanto, and under certain conditions, he will also give you a Hoenn starter. He also appears in Black 2 White 2's Pokemon World Tournament, and can be found as a super boss in Pokemon Emerald after you beat Wallace. And my god, is this a true battle? His power truly shines here. This guy is one tough of a cookie. Anyways, take it away, Crazi.
Thank you for covering all of that. Now let's get back into it. While Steven makes appearances in Ruby and Sapphire, Emerald, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Black and White, Black 2 and White 2, Steven really shines as a character in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. He helps the player find, defend, and catch a Latios or Latias before teaching them about Mega Evolution. He's, of course, accustomed to Mega Evolution himself, sporting a Mega Metagross on his team when the player comes to battle him. The Delta episode, in my opinion, is when Steven truly makes himself the most relevant. Now that there's a giant freaking asteroid heading right toward Hoenn, he enlists the player now that they've defeated the Hoenn Pokemon League. While his original plan was to power a machine known as a dimensional shifter and use it to warp the asteroid away with the player, it falls through. It fails even more when Team Magma, or Aqua depending on the game, raid the Space Center. Not to mention that a certain somebody in a certain tribe, Zinnia, later steals and destroys this machine. Steven is also called out for wanting to warp this asteroid to another world. Another dimension that may have not been able to handle it. I'll give Zinnia the credit here. I don't think a lot of people do give her that credit for wanting to prevent millions of deaths in another universe. Essentially, this causes Steven to rethink his plans and leave the player to go after Zinnia. He says that he still has more to learn and goes as far as to ask Wallens to eventually take his place as the champion. Steven is honestly a really mixed character in my eyes, story-wise, which is why I love him. He's a beloved champion, a huge nerd, and ultimately someone who's still learning despite his experience. And you know what? He's strong enough to admit that. That's something I admire. Honestly, that's just part of Steven's story. I only ever get into the Pokemon games themselves. Maybe one day I'll touch upon his story in the manga. But until then, this has been Pokemon Lore with Crazi. Let me know who you want me to cover next, and I'll see you again soon.